Hola, hola, mi gente. Michelle Flores with Realty of Chicago. I'm excited to bring you another snippet of in the life of financial literacy and how it pertains to you. I have my good friend here, Anna Murphy with Murphy and Associates. She's going to share her knowledge on financial literacy and what it means to her. Hi, ¿cómo estás?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me today.
No problem.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself. Not that I don't know you already, because we've known each other since we were like, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a long time.
a long time. So many moons.
Yeah, so my name's Anna Murphy. I'm owner and CEO of Murphy and Associates Consulting.
Get a girl.
Yeah, so what we do is we basically help service-based business owners and real estate professionals with their bookkeeping. And we do that in two ways. We help them get organized and financially literate when it comes to how to keep up with their books as far as things that they want to do as a business owner. Make sure that they understand, right, that there's a point that they're going to need a team, right, because you can only go so far, doing everything yourself.
Yep.
So that's kind of where we come in. We help them, from that perspective.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you. How long have you been in business, you said?
Whew. I've been in business for, I would say 10 years, but about 7 years on my own, like meaning no 9 to 5, just
Yep.
completely
24/7.
24/7. Yes.
First rule in financial literacy is when you become a business owner, you don't work a 9 to 5, you work 24/7.
Yes.
First bit of knowledge. There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that last week I don't know if it was last week that I said it or in the video that I made with my girl Sonia, or if it was in conversation. That was one of the things I touched on. I'm like, oh, I was so eager to become a business owner because I was tired of working 9 to 5, so now I work 24/7.
Yes. In the beginning, that's a
Yeah.
lot of what it is. And for a while.
And for a while, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in business 6 years myself, and I'm still learning. I still say that I'm learning. Am I seasoned? Yes, but is there still room to learn and grow? Absolutely. So yeah,
Right.
you
No,
know,
I agree. Yeah,
I'm like, and if you're not learning, what are you doing with yourself, right? I feel like you should
for
always
sure.
be learning and growing. So there's that. Um, all right. So in your business, and I don't want to speak just to real estate, right? Because I have people in my sphere that are not realtors. They're not in real estate in any which way, shape, or form. They might own. I have a lot of my baking friends out there. What's up, my bakers? Send me
Nice.
some cookies.
Oh, we love cookies.
We have, different types of business owners, restaurant owners. I know some owners out there that are contractors, right? They have a plumbing business, or they have a tiling business or a flooring business. Other financial, I don't know if they're advisors or accountants, right? They might
Right.
also have input, or maybe they might learn a golden nugget from you yourself. So definitely share what you would like to share. Like, what does financial literacy mean to you, and how did you get to this point of your life where you want to educate others?
Yeah, so financial literacy, I mean, there's the basics of it, right? Where everybody understands well, I wouldn't say everybody understands, but most people understand that there needs to be some sort of level of budgeting, right? There's obviously people who want to be able to pay off their debt. There's the financial literacy side of making money, right? So there's so many different components of it. I think for me personally, it means that not only are you educating yourself on how money actually works, specifically in America, but how when you apply that, you can literally transform your financial life, right? Like you can, because there's people who they learn stuff, but they don't, kind of like what you said a minute ago, right? Where you have to constantly learn, you have to constantly grow, but then they don't apply anything,
Right. It's the
right?
applying it or implementing it in your
Yes.
life.
Yeah. So there's the two. That's why I kind of separate it. Like, well, yeah, there's a lot of people with knowledge, but it doesn't mean anything if you're not applying the financial literacy. So
Correct.
it's two aspects to it. At least that's how I look at it.
Okay. Give me maybe some I don't know if you want to give me specific stories or experiences as to how you either educate or what are the main things that you educate your clients on. Maybe it's not respective to any specific business. Maybe you have some generalizations, or you can get as deep as you want, right? Give me some examples of how you educate or what you educate your clients on.
Yeah, so I think it really depends on the individual and the business owner. Everybody's at a different pace and they're at a different level. So some people want to go at a faster pace. Some people want to go at a slower pace. Some people are $100,000 a year. Some people are at $1 million or more a year, right? So I kind of try to make it more relatable to that individual specific person because personal finance, it's personal,
Correct.
right? What might be a priority for you might not be a priority for me and vice versa.
Okay.
So it's really identifying what their goals are and what they specifically want to accomplish. Some people are more of a risk taker. Some people aren't that much of a risk taker. That doesn't mean that they can't apply some sort of concept, right? So I kind of just gauge, to try to figure out what that specific person wants by asking simple questions and
Okay.
identifying what it is that they want to accomplish. And then there's the aspect of there's the entrepreneur and there's the person who is working the 9 to 5 who still wants to create wealth. Again, they're two totally different types of people who need help.
Correct.
So you kind of, it's like that saying where you kind of have to come down to their level and help them on the way up of whatever
Correct.
it is that they're trying to do. So I have clients where they have multiple investments and, they might benefit more from someone who's going to show them how to invest into the market. That's when I'll refer, my referral for financial advising, right? I might have someone.
And you're talking, at that point, you're talking more like stocks,
Yes.
things like that. Okay.
Like stocks, investments, different types of investments into the stock market.
Okay.
Right. Which that in and of itself is a whole world. Right.
Yes.
And so some of them are ready for that. Some of them, they're just trying to figure this debt out so they can be able to have more discretionary income so that they can invest into the stock market.
Right.
Right. And some of them are doing both at the same time, which is also possible too. So what I do is I go through what I call the 5 stages of leveling up financially.
Okay.
And we go through those stages, and depending on where they are, we come in and we help them. And sometimes that requires them referring to another person outside of ourselves because there's certain things that we don't do. We're not licensed as far as like securities investments or anything like that. So I stay in my lane, right? Which is more of teaching people how to organize themselves, teaching people the concepts of money, how to save, how to pay off debt at the same time, how to use credit card points, right, to be able to travel and simple little things like that that most people can be able to benefit from. And then when they have that discretionary income and they're like, hey, I got about $5,000 extra to invest. I'm trying to double this money. What can I do with it? Hey, here's a real estate investor. Hey, here's a financial advisor. Here's other people that can now help you with these other types of investments. Because
I love that.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with money.
So you said there's 5
stages.
5 stages. And what are those 5
Correct.
stages?
So the 5 stages, the first stage is 1, understanding where you are, knowing how much debt you have, right? Knowing your percentages on your debt. Like there's so many people that they have credit cards, all this debt. They don't even know how long it's going to take them to pay off the debt, even if they made a plan, right? So it's becoming aware.
Yes.
It's the first stage is awareness, right? And that's with anything. You have to become aware of where you are. That includes having a financial structure.
Okay.
You have to get organized, right? Some people are using paper planners. Some people are using apps. Some people are using spreadsheets. Some people are using QuickBooks. Some people are using, there's so many different things nowadays that you can use to budget and manage your money. So that's the first step, is becoming aware. I personally personally like the writing down.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is because when you write things down as a human, it helps you to retain
Right.
information better,
Mm-hmm. I
right?
agree.
And that repetition of doing that is going to become a habit that you create so that you can break the old habits that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we think that budgeting is just, let me write everything down. It's a mindset,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's an actual mindset habit. So that's the first awareness. The second is once we make you aware of everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm talking about everything. Like I had, for example, I'll give you a
Oh gosh,
perfect
she's about to
example.
talk to me, y'all. She's about to call me out. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I have a perfect example. So I have sometimes clients that have old debt, tax debt, credit card debt, mortgage debt, medical debt, whatever kind of debt, right? And they never looked at it because they never wanted to face having to deal with the debt, right? Well, when you write things down, it forces you to look at yourself,
Been there, done that.
right? And it forces you to ask yourself some hard questions.
Yep.
What am I doing? How am I going to get out of this? How did I get into this? These are all questions that no matter how much you budget or not, if you don't deal with, they'll still come up later. Okay. And the reason I say that is because a lot of this, again, is a mindset. It's, you know, you have to solve the issues that you have around money internally because we've been conditioned, programmed, whatever you want to call it, by our parents, society, school, various people, cultures, things like that.
Just experiences in life in general.
Experiences that can really hinder you to move forward, right? So that's why I'm a big advocate of writing stuff down. And for those of you who've like done therapy or like some sort of inner work, a lot of therapists will have you journal. They'll have you write things down. You know, I've been in therapy for almost 4 years now. And a lot of it was writing stuff down,
And
becoming
it's hard.
clear. It's hard.
It's hard, but it's totally worth it.
Yes.
Just FYI.
It hurts. It's hard. All that stuff. So I bring that up because there's a lot of people who are like, I don't want to do this. I don't have to do this, or I'll just do it later. And it's because you're trying to either hide something, you feel shame, you're embarrassed. There's all these different emotions that you have to.
It gives you anxiety.
It gives you anxiety. It makes you anxious. It makes you worried.
Yeah.
I don't have any hope now. All these different emotions that we have to be able to overcome. That's why people don't write stuff down. It's literally just that simple, right? Simple, but not simple. You know what I mean? So
we're aware, and then
we're aware, and then we get a strategy in
we
place.
have a strategy.
We become aware. We got a strategy for how we're going to budget, how we're going to organize. We're going to sit down every 2 weeks and look at the bills that are coming in. We're going to open up those envelopes. We're going to write our bills down or whatever
It's
it
the
is.
opening the envelopes, y'all.
Yes. Open.
I hate opening those envelopes.
And the emails nowadays.
Oh, let's not talk about the emails. But anyway, because they get you, you know, those bills keep coming.
Yes. Yes.
They're recurring. They're
recurring. So they're coming every month.
Yes.
Right. So now you got an organization, you got a system, you got a file folder, whatever it is, right? Find what works for you. And if something doesn't work, it's okay. Find another way to do it. That's another thing I see people do.
Is it something that you help with though? Like, let's just say I came and I said, well, you know, I'm aware that I owe all this, or I have all this going on, or my business is this, right? Because and a lot of times I'm sure you're working with clients that are giving you their professional side plus their personal side, right? Because it's two different entities.
Right.
So it's like, this is what I have. Help me figure it out, right? Because some people just need help figuring it out, like organizing it or coming up with that game plan. So you help them come up with that game plan.
Correct.
And set it up. And if they have to tweak it, you help them tweak it as well.
Correct.
I'm assuming. Okay.
Yes. So what we do is we go through each stage and then we meet and then I say, okay, what part of A, B, C did you do? And they said, I did A, but I didn't do B. Well, why didn't you do B? Right. So then there comes the accountability, because that's another thing. No one's keeping you accountable. And sometimes you can't even keep yourself accountable because it hurts too much. So having someone come in to help and say, you know what, I didn't do this because I started and it didn't really feel good. And then I needed to take a walk, and then I life just kept lifing and I didn't do it.
Right.
Right.
It'd be lifing.
Okay.
It'd be lifing.
Yes. Life is always gonna life.
It's always lifing, y'all. It really
It's
is.
always lifing for sure. Always 24/7.
And let's
right?
not talk about Mercury retrograde. I had a joke with that with a prima today. I was just like, oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
It's out here. It's out here.
Yeah. So yeah, it's, okay, why didn't you do that? And kind of helping them process that, right? Because,
Oh, so you're like a financial advisor / therapist.
well,
Let me find out, girl. Let me find out.
let me tread
Because I know I'm a
lightly.
realtor / therapist. You know?
Well, here's one thing I've learned from doing this for a long time now, I feel, is that these are things that are going to come up when I'm trying to help my clients get organized. And I feel like it's my responsibility, so to speak, to talk about the elephants in the room. If I do not say, hey, Michelle, I know that this is hard. I know that this is probably, something that you haven't looked at for the last 5 years. But let me ask you this. If you're here if you're in the same place you are right now, 5 years from now, how is that going to make you feel?
Yeah, probably worse. Right? Yeah.
So
I agree.
my responsibility is to make you aware that if you don't do anything about it, you're either going to be in the same place or in an even worse place.
Right.
Right? So these are not easy conversations to have, especially with money, because it's, for a long time, money has been a taboo conversation in a lot of different communities, right? So, it's going to make the conversations a little bit uncomfortable, but I've learned that if I don't make them aware of some of this stuff, they're not even aware.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the awareness is so important. And again, as someone who has gone through therapy, not financial therapy or anything like that, but personally, I've realized what a good therapist actually helps people do. It's not constantly talk about your problems. It's understanding why things happen the way they did, what you can do about it, and how do you move forward.
And you apply the same thing in the financial world.
Correct. So
That's
all
important.
I did was apply the same thing and said, you know what? My clients need this same type of structure. Why did this happen? How do I fix it? And how do I move forward? Because sometimes we stay in the woe is me, but then that's not helping anyone.
Right.
Because
Right.
you're just going to stay in the same place 5 years and life's going to life. So you need the tangible applications of, okay, tell me, what do I do right now? Okay, I'm going to tell you what you need to do right now, but it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be easy. Now, the good part is once we get to step 3,
Which
right?
is, okay.
The awareness, we got you organized. You're doing what you got to do. Step 3 is now you're able to see. You're able to see, oh my God, I thought that I only had $50,000 worth of debt. I actually have 80,000.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. There's that level of awareness. Then there's okay, I have a debt strategy though. I can use the snowball strategy. I can use the avalanche strategy to be able to eliminate this. I thought it was going to take me 10 years to get out of this debt. It's actually only going to take me 5.
Amen.
Wow. I've had so many clients where they have this overwhelming feeling that it's going to take them forever. But when they're organized, they're aware and they see, oh no, now here's the hope. I can knock this down in 3 years, 2 years, right? It's all relative to where they are. Then they look at their budget and they're saying, I thought I was spending $1,400 or $1,000 on groceries a month, right? Which unfortunately right now is astronomical,
I
which
feel like
is a
that's
whole other
I feel like that's
conversation.
low compared to, I think I spend more than that a month.
Well,
Groceries is expensive.
Groceries is so expensive,
So expensive.
really expensive.
Y'all, I don't know what's more expensive, houses or groceries.
It's
They're very neck and neck.
They're the top 2
Yes.
most expenses that we have as humans is housing and food. And then next is transportation.
Right. I was
Right.
just going to say, but I didn't want to throw a third one out there and discourage people from the video.
Yeah.
They'll be like, why do you
Hey.
keep talking about these expenses?
Yeah, but I've had people think that they're spending $1,000 on groceries. They're spending $1,800 a
Yeah.
month on groceries.
Yeah.
right? Now they're trying to figure out, how do I minimize that expense, or how do I streamline this,
Right.
right? And so different things like that. But anyways, once they get to the third stage and they find some hope, a strategy, they figure out and they become aware, then it's the fourth step. The fourth step is implementing everything from the first three steps. Self-awareness, organizing, habits, knowing where the money is going, knowing what I need to minimize, or how much more money I need to make. Because you can only minimize so much.
Right.
You can only deduct so much. Eventually, you're going to have to make some more money.
Right.
Right? So then that's the fourth stage, is implementation. And then the fifth stage is just overall accountability through that process. This typically takes me anywhere between 90 days to 6 months to do. Depends on what the client wants to be able to hire me for. If they want a 90-day implementation process or a 6-month implementation process.
Okay.
And then after 12 months, we do check in with our clients to see how they've been able to apply everything they learned in a 1-year time frame, because really it takes about a year to really
get it all
change your
together.
life. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So I know it's a lot, but
It's a lot, but it's good to like just hear like ideas or things that make us uncomfortable, right? So no one wants to talk about finances. No one. I mean, I'm in real estate and I don't even half the time want to talk to my clients about finances. I don't want to know what how much money you have or don't have, or how much you make. And technically, I don't need that information to do my job.
right.
All I need to know is what you qualify for and how much you want to spend monthly. Where do you feel comfortable spending, right?
Right.
And sometimes I do have those hard conversations with my clients, because I for one, never want to put a client in a situation where they're house poor, right? And so sometimes I will ask, you were pre-approved for so much money, for so much to purchase a home, and you qualify for this monthly payment. And yeah, I'll sell you a house that gives you a $4,000, $5,000 monthly payment if that's what you want. Is that what you feel comfortable with, right? Because the lender, so then in the financial literacy part, in the buying process, for me at least, is making sure my clients know that just because the lender approved you for that monthly payment doesn't mean it's something you should actually do, right? I don't want you to tell me, Michelle, I'm paying my $5,000 monthly mortgage, but my husband and I haven't gone to a date night in 6 months or a year because we have no more money. Now we're house poor.
Yeah.
That's the level of house poor I'm talking about, right? It's not necessarily that you not only can't afford to pay your mortgage, but now you can't afford to live. That house poor to me is like you're paying your mortgage, but you can't afford to live. You're not living your life. You're just living you're working to pay your mortgage.
That's a great point.
Yeah. I mean, I think about these things, right? So I guess it's good to have that. So for those who don't currently own, but want to get there, I mean, everybody sees housing prices are going up, right? And again, I didn't want to make this all about real estate, but it does come down to that. I do have a ton of people that want to buy houses in the future, or a house in the future. And part of that is being financially savvy, knowing where you stand financially and how do you get there, right? And it's programs like what you offer, sit there, go through, take down all the numbers, go through your bank statement. You don't remember what you spend monthly? Because I'll be honest, I'm the first one to set it and forget it. I have a lot of things on auto pay. I don't know which card it's attached to. I'm embarrassed to say it, but it's the truth. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm all high and mighty. I'm not. And so sometimes I have to remind myself, okay, which card is attached to which bill, and, things like that, right? Is it my business card? Is it my personal card? Is this a business expense? Is it a personal expense?
Right.
And even within my personal expenses, I have different accounts that I use for different things. So it's like, okay, which of my personal accounts is tied to this particular bill, right?
Yes.
And so, it's sitting down and literally writing it all down. And then it's like, I realized, oh my goodness, I have all these different subscriptions. Where's that? I don't want to say any names, but you guys know the TikToks or the little videos that are out there that are saying, how many subscriptions do you have?
Yes.
Guilty, and those are expenses that's $10, $20, $15, whatever, a month that could be going towards something else, right? Towards that credit card payment that you have to pay. So I love that you said that, like, make yourself aware of what you have in your expenses. Make yourself aware of how much you're making and how much you're spending. Correct. And not just in your monthly bills, because we spend when we go to that movie theater.
Right.
we spend when we go out to eat today, maybe tomorrow, whether it's $5, and I don't know what you're spending $5 on because I haven't found a $5 meal anywhere, but you know what I'm talking about, right? All those little like meals, those little tonteria things that you buy yourself at the store,
Yeah.
they all add up. So definitely that's important. And implementing a plan is great. Like having somebody, sometimes you need that accountability partner. And so having someone like yourself that can do that is great, right? And you say you follow up depending on the plan and things like that, even a year later.
Yes.
So that's awesome. Now, I know you have something cool that you give your clients to help them in this. Is it all your clients or is it depending on their...
It's more of the personal finance clients. Yeah.
So it's a budget planner or something like that.
Yeah. So
And I have one. I have it. I actually want to give it to my kids.
Yeah.
And I haven't done it yet because I wanted to sit with you and go through it. But you have a planner
Yes.
that you made.
Yeah. So
Love that.
I created basically a budgeting planner that captures everything that I feel is important for people to capture when they're trying to learn how to budget. So it's a combination of the bookkeeping / the budgeting type of thing.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of budgeting planners out there that you can find, but I wanted to create something that was really going to help people understand, you know, how to budget efficiently. And then once they hit the next level, they can look at different metrics too, right? So that's kind of the accounting side where I kind of, you know, went all out,
Miss me,
so to
girl.
speak.
You miss me, girl. You can have that. And I appreciate yourself and other individuals like yourself that do that because it's not for me.
Yeah, it's not for everyone.
Like, it's not for me.
It's the accounting's definitely not for everyone, but budgeting is. Budgeting is.
And going back to just the overall financial lit part is, when do you think people should start learning how to budget or implementing budgeting?
I think we should be learning this as children.
Oh, amen. Hallelujahs. So
Yes.
you have a personal story that
Yes.
you don't probably think I was going to call you out on, but
What?
you have your kids doing all sorts of crazy great things to help them plan for their future. Give us
Yes.
some insight on that,
Yeah. So,
which I love, by the way.
I'm a big advocate, if you're an entrepreneur, of hiring your kids in your business because, for one, it's going to teach them, you know, to work and to make their own money. And for two, you can be able to leverage that money to be able to invest into something for themselves.
Yep.
Whether that's a Roth IRA, whether that's life insurance, whether that's a savings account, a 529 plan. Like, you can use this money to help fund your child's future.
Yeah.
You can also teach them how to budget with this money, right? You can teach them how to save. Okay, I made $200. I got to save 50 of it, and the other 50 is going to food or whatever it is that they want to do. I'm a big advocate of that. So yes, I have hired my kids to do different things for me, and I pay them, and they love it because they know that they're going to make some money, right? Kids like making money, believe it or not. They love making their own money. It gives them like a sense of like self, like worth, or I wouldn't say self-worth, but like an independence that they have to be able to go into the store and say, well, you don't have to buy it for me, mommy. I got my own money. I can buy it myself, right?
Amen to that one.
Yeah.
Also, part of financial literacy is making your kids make their own money so that you don't have to spend yours.
Yes, which I've done. So,
I love that.
but yeah, it's fun. But you do have to make sure you have it set up correctly, and you know, you do have to have an accountant who can help you, you know, make sure that you're setting things up correctly and all that good stuff. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of it, and we can definitely, my team and I can definitely help with that as well if people need help.
Love that. I've been following you with that, and your youngest, who's in the room, but you can't see him, but he's like her little helper. He's such a good employee. He's back there somewhere. And I was so mad when I learned this from you in January, because you spoke about it at our seminar that we had, and I was like, dang it, my kids are already grown. Like I have adult children.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids are 18 and 21 already. Then the 21-year-old is going to be 22.
Right.
And, in my defense, or at least where I benefited, is that I just voluntold them to do things so I didn't have to pay them. Love you, boys. You're the best. My favorite sons in the whole wide world. But it would have been great to be able to set them up, right? And so from my perspective, I didn't have that education, the financial education, to even start something like that. So how did you get to that point of like, oh, I can do this with my kids, or even put you in the trajectory that you were in of being a financial advisor, accountant, bookkeeper, things like that? Like, what changed or what happened in your life that put you in this position that you're like, I need to make sure the world knows that this is what we could be doing. This is how we can grow. I mean, we're from the Latino community. We're
Yeah.
from the
From
rough
Humboldt
parts,
Park,
from Humboldt
Chicago.
Park, and it's not like we were getting taught that in school. So
No.
where
Oh,
did this
no.
come about? And you were like, aha, I have this idea and I want to implement it. Because I love it. The moment that you told me about it, I was like, say less. Let me
Yeah.
figure this out, because we all need this education.
Yeah, for sure. So I would say it was about, it's been about a little over 10 years now when I found out about this strategy. But it was basically, I was around people that were having these conversations. I was around people who were saying, hey, I'm making, $500,000 a year and I want to, be able to hire my kid. How can this become beneficial for both me and my child? And honestly, rich folks do it all the time. Rich
I'm
people,
sure that they do. We just don't know about
we
it.
just don't know. They do a lot of things that we don't know about because, again, it's the awareness, becoming educated. But yeah, and
How did you,
so
like pause really quickly. How did you end up in those rooms, in that space?
I
Right?
started surrounding myself around other kinds of people than what I was used to and what I was comfortable with.
And that's the point I'm trying to make too,
Yeah.
right? So it's like you have to step outside your comfort zone.
Oh, yes.
One thing that I'm learning very quickly, okay, because even though I've been in real estate and I work with a company that we have tons of money making people, right? And we make our money and we're doing our thing and all this great stuff. This was not always the case for me, right?
Yeah,
Again,
me either.
born and raised in Humboldt Park, went to CPS schools, and although I graduated from a great high school and went to a great elementary school, it's not like people were saying, learn about Roth IRAs and learn about life insurance and learn about investing money here and there. I worked at a hospital for many years. I worked at a nursing home for many years. And then I eventually became a nanny for a family where, to be honest, that experience, who I love very much. I love you guys. You know who you are. I worked for two families, actually, and I learned a lot from both families about spending money and not. And I was already an adult. I already had my kids were already teenagers.
What did you learn?
I learned about, we're famous. I'm sure you can probably attest to this too, is that having kids, we're famous for like buying everything new.
Yeah.
I want everything new for my kids. I want them to have what I didn't have.
Yes.
And that mentality comes from scarcity, right? Whereas on the flip side, when I was working with these families, they were big on hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
Where on the flip side, on my end, it was like, oh, I have to have a hand-me-down again.
Yeah.
I grew up wearing clothes from the segunda, being embarrassed and whatever, not realizing that was a smart move.
Yeah.
I was
but
so
you know
mad about
what?
like when I learned that and when I was nannying for a family, when I saw that, I was like, this is the smartest thing I have ever seen in my whole life. And why did I push for my kids to have everything brand new? I don't know, because it's not like I was rich.
No,
But-
I agree with you. But you know what? I've heard people say that they've been on the other spectrum of that everything that they had was hand-me-downs. Everything that they had was used. So they never experienced having the brand new stuff. It's like two sides of the spectrum.
Right. Right.
You know
It's
what I
lo que
mean?
digo. Growing up, I had everything was like hand-me-downs. I mean, we had new stuff here and there, but
Yeah.
but most of it was hand-me-downs, right? And so from when it came to my kids, I was like, I gotta buy everything new, and every holiday had a new outfit. And
So you
and a
think
new
it should be a little bit of balance in there?
It's definitely a balance. I
Yeah.
feel like especially when they're little.
Yes.
Oh, the things I learned about what I should have not spent money on.
This is true.
I could have been rich by now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like putting yourself in spaces
Yeah.
that you would have never been in.
Right.
And that's part of financial literacy too, because what I was trying to get to is that your network is definitely going to be your net worth.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be the millionaire, but if you surround yourself by millionaires, you'll have a millionaire mindset and you will get there eventually.
Right. And you might not reach 1 million, but let's say you go from 50,000 to $300,000 a year.
Amen. That's a big difference. You making
That's
money.
better than staying where you're at.
But make sure you're talking to an accountant and putting that money in the right spaces.
Correct.
Okay. Let's not give the IRS everything. Okay.
Oh, yes.
So, and that's the other part of it too, is like being savvy as to like, okay, you're making X amount now, but you want to make X amount later. How do you get there?
Right.
Or how do you save money while you're here trying to get to there? But also like, how does that affect your tax bracket when you're at the 50,000 and you're working your way up, and learning that there's different ways to save money and not have to pay all this money towards taxes. So that's being tax savvy.
Yes, that's a whole other part of financial literacy.
We can make a whole other video on that. But is there anything you can think of that would be a quick, like, pay attention to this, or share with us that we can either, like, maybe, I don't know, put into play right now with respect to taxes?
To taxes?
Especially now that we've passed tax season. Sorry, guys, we're a little bit late. Save it for next year.
Yeah, for taxes, I mean, I would say it depends if you're a business owner or if you're, if you have a traditional 9 to 5.
Pause. I'm dead. The camera died.
Oh,
I don't
shoot.
know if there's another one, but you can still say your part, and then I'll just figure out mine. I can maybe make an adjustment.
Okay.
Let me flip this. And
That was quick.
yeah, it was only at like 30 something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if this is gonna work.
You can't charge it while you.
I don't know. I don't think so because the cord is not long enough.
Oh, okay.
But I'm glad it made a noise because, or you know what? Maybe you just say your part, and then let me see if I.
And then you'll wrap up with your part.
Yeah. And then I'll just do like this. It'll be different quality, but at least it'll be recorded.
Camera died?
Yeah.
All right. Where were we at? The tax part.
Tax, yep.
Or resume. This should still be recording, so we should be fine.
Yeah.
I think. I hope. But the chair, DJ, the chair definitely, I think we can hear it in the audio. Okay. Oh, are you good on the Wi-Fi? Did you get on the Wi-Fi at all?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Log into a neighborhood loans guest and put the password as Transformers.
All lowercase.
All lowercase.
Loans guest?
Yep. It's Transformers. I think. No, it's not. It's loans, I think. Try loans. I'm trying to remember what the password is. What's the password?
Try both.
Okay. Make it happen. Okay. All right. So, we were talking about tips for taxes. Go ahead.
So a couple of tips for taxes. I would say if you're not keeping track of your expenses, that's the first thing. Like we gotta have the basics, right? Sometimes people are like, I want all the tax tips, but you don't even have the basic fundamentals, which is bookkeeping, making sure that you're keeping track of, all of your expenses and your income, and recording that correctly, right? So having a good bookkeeper is one. Two, I would say if you are looking to be able to save on taxes, obviously becoming a business owner, just having a business is going to open you up to a lot of different deductions. So your cell phone is an automatic deduction once you become an entrepreneur because you're using your phone to create sales, to talk to clients, vendors, associates, things like that. Also, your utilities. I mean, that's a big one. If you have a home office, now you do have to have a dedicated home office, right? Where you go in and this is where you work. Now you can be able to deduct some of your lights, your water, your gas, if you have a security system at home. Like these are all deductions that you qualify for by having that home office in your home, right? Another one is any type of equipment that you're purchasing. So if you're purchasing computers, like these microphones, cell phones for your business,
deduct away.
right? You can deduct all of those deductions, right? If you're in more of like the restaurant space, obviously all of your deductions for the equipment that you purchase. Trucking industry, it depends what industry, right? But a lot of these guys, they have equipment that they're purchasing and those can actually be depreciated. So if you're spending several thousands of dollars on one specific equipment, like let's say you invest $10,000 straight into a truck or whatever it is, that actually should be depreciated on your tax return, which is a different type of tax strategy. And the wealthy love using depreciation tax strategies. They do it with real estate a lot. They'll buy a property and depreciate it on their tax return for the next 5-10 years,
Interesting.
So there's a lot of different things that you can do, but it's relative to what industry you're in. But those are good, few that you can be able to use right now.
Yeah. That's awesome. It's knowing where you're at in your particular industry, knowing those tax breaks that you can catch. I mean, I'm not sure where we would find all that information, right? So is there a resource that maybe they can go to?
If you actually go to my website, www.girlletstalkmoney.com, I have a free tax guide on there that literally can give you like 20 different strategies you can use to minimize your taxes. But again, you got to make sure you got a good CPA. So
yes, that is definitely key. Guys, don't get shy about the Girl Let's Talk Money. You guys can jump in on that, okay?
Yeah, we can help everyone.
Yes. And that's what I love, right? Like being able to be a resource to our community is important to me. So I'm glad you chimed in with me on this. And what else was I going to say? So we were talking about like where we were growing up and just being exposed to different things. And that's why it was important to make these videos, right? So putting the information out there. I mean, yeah, you can Google stuff. I'm sure you can Google stuff, but sometimes it helps to just be kind of face to face with someone giving you that information, right? So to speak. One of the great things is that, Anna's on social media, right? Let's put you out there. Find her at.
You can find me on Instagram, Anna.Murphy_. Anna Murphy on Facebook.
Yeah.
And also Girl Let's Talk Money.
Yes.
So anything that you put. Now, there's a lot of Anna Murphys, but they might not have the curly hair like this. So
find my girl. Look for those curls.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your time. Is there anything else that you'd like to share regarding financial literacy?
No, I mean, just implement, become aware and implement, because there's a lot of people who are aware of a lot of things, but they don't do anything about it. So
yeah. I think that's key. Not only implement, but stick to it, maybe.
Yes.
Create
those new habits. It's creating a new habit.
It's creating new habits. We can budget away, to pay off the current debt. But if we don't budget and stick to it for life, we'll end up right back in that debt, right?
Yep.
So definitely those key pointers with regards to being financially literate.
Yeah.
All right. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was